what's up guys, Rampedi here, back with another episode. So, how many points does Mammila Sundowns need to win the league? Morgan Mammila speaks, and Mangete, I love you, but we have to talk. Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
We had a game on Friday the 13th, and boy was it a horrific show. I mean, we're talking about Freddie, Jason, Kelisilo more when I'm talking about it. AmaZulu thrashing Kaizer Chiefs 4-0. I mean, this is a result that I didn't see coming. I don't think anyone saw coming, and AmaZulu started really quickly. You have to give them their credit. You know, they were clinical, and they had the determination to win the game, the fight to win the game. And in all honesty, when you watch the 90 minutes, AmaZulu just simply wanted it more than Kaizer Chiefs. And what did they do right? They won their jewels. I mean, every aspect of the pitch, that is what they did. And they defended with their lives too. I mean, in the first half, they exposed Kaizer Chiefs. They really did. I mean, we've been speaking so many times about this defense of Kaizer Chiefs and AmaZulu pounce, especially within the corners. The goal that is scored by Dumisani Zuma. I mean, when you look at Dumisani Zuma and his frame, he's not even the tallest player on the pitch, but he's able to outjump the Kaizer Chiefs defenders within the corner. And that happened again with another former player, this time Bahlele having to score the goal. So to make things worse, it was like the defensive frailties that I've been speaking about for weeks, but now it's the former players as well having to haunt Kaizer Chiefs. And Roman Falls needed that win. I mean, he needed that win. It pushes them up the table. And also the fact that other teams are drawing too. And also the goals that they scored too. I mean, it just gives them confidence as well. And you could just even what I liked about what he said at the end of the post-match interview that he had is that they asked him to say, you must be happy. You know, you just won 4-0 against arguably the biggest team in the country. And he was like, no. We need to do this more. We need to do this again. And I was like, I like that, man. I like that. I mean, just imagine if other coaches had won 4-0, what would they say? They probably would have gloated forever. But the fact that he wants his team to do more, that is something that I like. But again, they exposed the defense of Kaizer Chiefs, the weakness that is. And it's almost like I'm getting tired of every single week we speaking about the same thing. You know, speaking about the same thing. The fact that they're conceding so many. The fact that it was set pieces this time. The fact that even Edmilson Dove passes it back to Kune. And it was such a joke in the way that the goal played out. It was almost as if you'd see kids in school making that kind of mistake. And that stretches their tally now to one of the worst defenses within the league. And I spoke about this having to say there's no foundation for success if the defense is not great. There's no point of playing a particular way. There's no point of transitions. There's no point of having to have the double pivots in midfield that I spoke about, the inverted fullbacks, the front three, the plan that you're trying to do, but you're conceding goals at the rate that you are. And strangely enough, I saw senior players hiding. You know, I mean, Kaizer Chiefs is now relying on the youngsters to sort of do something within the team. Now we're relying on Mduduzi Shabalala to do something now. Because after Caleb missed his penalty, he was hiding. He was hiding completely. And he wasn't the only one, per se. I got this stat for you guys. Remember last season, you know, fans wanted Stuart Baxter out. Fans did not think he was the right fit. And to be fair, I was part of them as well because I just felt like he just was not getting it right, especially even in defense, they were conceding too many goals. But were they? Because last season, as you can see, at this stage of the season, Kaizer Chiefs had only conceded 14 goals. This season, they have already conceded 20. That's 6 more goals than there was last season. And you look at the combination at the back. It's Zita who's playing all the time. Edmilson Dove is playing all the time. I want to tell you out this one, you got defenders as well on the bench. They're there. Matogo's there. Ngezana is there. Njabulu Ngobo is there. And strange enough, when Njabulu Ngobo and Ngezana made mistakes, they were dropped immediately. But Zita Kwiniga, for some reason, it's like he's undroppable. Now the question I ask is why? You know, maybe he needs a break. And I'm gonna let you in on something. So every time after a game, right, I go and record and say a bit of something, those 2-minute videos that you guys see. I've already got everything set out. So when the game is done, when the referee blows the full-time whistle, I press pause. And once I press pause, I run to my chair, I speak, and then I post it. Then I get back, and then I press play to hear what the coaches are going to say. But I don't play what the coaches say and then record because I don't want them to influence my thinking. Now I get back and I press play after recording the video that you guys saw on social media. And it was Zwane speaking. And what was his comments after the game of conceding 4-0? The performance was not bad. Huh? Chiefs dominated. Like, our mistakes were punished, but we didn't punish their mistakes. I mean, I could not believe what I was listening to, because how do you play a game of 90 minutes of football and concede 4 goals and claim that you played well? I don't care if you've got 80% possession. I don't care if you've got 70%, 90% possession. If you play a game of football and concede 4 goals in 90 minutes, that's not great. And he's speaking like he's trying to keep the dressing room all right. He's speaking like he's trying to keep the players together. Then I ask myself, is Zwane comfortable? Is that what it is? Is that what he thinks? He thinks like, oh no, I'm still going to be here next season. The fans are not blind. The fans are not blind. We can all see what's going on. And at the end of the season, there will be an assessment. There will be an assessment. And I'll tell you what, man, I'll be the first one to say it. If it's not good enough, it's not good enough. And if you're not the man to take Kaizer Chiefs forward, I'll say that too. I want you to succeed, but you cannot have performances like that and claim those are good performances. They better pick up, because there's going to be a truth assessment at the end of the season. A battle of transitions, a battle of counter presses, high presses. Orlando Pirates going up against Golden Arrows, a game in which they won. And credit to Orlando Pirates, they had that one break, selling scores. But strangely enough, they sat back. They allowed Golden Arrows to come back into the game. They didn't show the same intensity. Golden Arrows equalizes. From then on, I felt like Golden Arrows could have actually killed off the game, but they just did not have that quality. And then out of the blue, you find one cross from Saleng, and Jukumanja headers it. And I'm happy for Jukumanja because of just the criticism that he's had over the seasons at Orlando Pirates. And then eventually Pule scores on the counter because Golden Arrows was so desperate to get the equalizer. And eventually Pule scores the goal. Now that's 3 points for Orlando Pirates, and they jump into the top 5. Credit to them. But it's gonna, I'm not necessarily impressed as yet, because I want them to do it more. And I found this stat as well, as you can see on your screen, is Orlando Pirates have not won 2 league games in a row this season so far. So every time they win one, the next result is not a win. It's either a draw or it's a loss. Win, draw, loss, win, draw, win, loss, draw, win. Like, it's never consistent. So for me, this Orlando Pirates side needs to be more consistent before I can say anything about this side. And also consider the fact that the points they're behind Mamelodi Sundowns too. That's just been so disappointing. But Orlando Pirates, let's get 3 games. 3 games. Let's win 3 games in a row. Let's start there, Take me out to the movies first. Butter me up with some chocolates, maybe. Buy me a car. Let me get a little bit excited before I can say this date is back. So that's what I would say. So hopefully better things are to come, and the derby is on its way soon. Another win for Mamelodi Sundowns, this time in the Zwane derby. I found this interesting. Check this out. So I've put down teams that are most likely to stop Mamelodi Sundowns from winning the league. These are the most points these teams can obtain at the end of the season. Richards Bay 71, Super Sport United 69, Kaizer Chiefs 66, Orlando Pirates 64, and AmaZulu 63. So mathematically, Mamelodi Sundowns only need 10 wins to officially win the league. That's how many wins they need. And is Sundowns capable of winning 10 games in a row? Without a shadow of a doubt, I think they can. But realistically, how many wins do they need to win the league? Shakes Rampedi. From what I've seen this season, in terms of inconsistency of other teams that I highlighted on the previous show, I only think Masandawana needs 6 wins. That's all they need. They don't need 10. Because the other teams are just going to draw against one another. And they're going to push the title towards Mamelodi Sundowns. And that would mean they could have this title wrapped up in March. That's in 2 months' time, when the season is supposed to end in May. If it's not March, one thing I can guarantee you, from what I've seen with my eyes, unless I'm proved wrong, this league title will be wrapped up in April. And Sundowns could potentially be 20 points clear. Let's take a break from the games a little bit. I want to address Morgan Mamila's comments last week. Mamelodi Sundowns played up against Chipa, a game in which Chipa lost. And the Chipa head coach had a press conference and he mentioned some stuff, some interesting stuff. He spoke about Mamelodi Sundowns, the class side they are, the fact that we always love watching them. He spoke about Bafana Bafana. He spoke about Bafana Bafana having to play like Mamelodi Sundowns and having to ask Danny Jordan, why don't Bafana Bafana play like Sundowns? How can we get it to that level? And then also he said there were young coaches at the World Cup final. I think he was indirectly saying that we have a very old one at our current national team. I think there were some things that he said that were deep. I think there were some things that he said that were thoughtful. But I don't know about all of you guys, but the biggest thing for me at the World Cup that hit me, right, was the fact that I looked at the African teams and I looked at how many players they have playing overseas. And not just any overseas. I'm talking about the top leagues overseas. So the top 5, top 6 leagues as well. And I did some numbers for you guys that you can have a look. I've highlighted them. And as you can see, Senegal had 17 players playing in the top leagues. You look at Tunisia's numbers, it's 4. And you say, but they only had 4. No, they had 16 playing out of Africa. But they had 4 players playing in the top leagues. Morocco had 13, Cameroon had 11, and Ghana had 12 players playing in the top leagues. And by the way, just for context, I didn't even factor in leagues like Belgium. I didn't even factor leagues like Holland. I didn't even factor leagues like Switzerland. I didn't factor those leagues. I talked about like Premier League, League One, La Liga, Serie A. I'm talking about those type of leagues. And I think it's okay to have Sundowns' philosophy at Bafana Bafana. But the key thing for me is not the fact that Bafana Bafana must play like Mamelodi Sundowns. It's the fact that the quality needs to be at that level. We need to get to a level where we have South African players playing in top leagues, guys. And when you look at our Bafana Bafana squad, majority of it contains players playing in the PSL. And I love Mamelodi Sundowns. I love the teams that are here. If you take this Mamelodi Sundowns side, this current side, and put them at the World Cup, they're not doing what Morocco did. They're simply not. Because I don't think they're as good as that. I remember the best Sundowns team I had seen in recent time, 2016, when they won the CAF Champions League. They went to the Club World Cup, and they were beat by Asian teams. And that was the best. The best Mamelodi Sundowns side I've seen in a long time. So I say, the days that we need to get back to is the days of Benny McCarthy when he was in Europe. Bradley Cornell, Lucas Radebe, Sean Bartlett. I've put the names down here, and there's so many of them. Because I can't believe we had so many names that were playing abroad. Stephen Pienaar, Phil Masinga, may his soul rest in peace, Mark Fish, Tsepo Masilela. There's many names that we had. Nassif Morris was speaking about it earlier this week, that maybe perhaps our players are comfortable, and maybe so. But even if you get Bafana Bafana to play like Mamelodi Sundowns and keep the ball like Mamelodi Sundowns, you saw what France did to us. You saw what France did to us. You saw what Mbappe did to us. They scored 5 comfortably. So even though we play really well, we're still not going to be at the level. You know, I switch on my TV and I check there on the news that Datro Fofana has joined Chelsea. 20 years old, from Ivory Coast, has joined Chelsea. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the levels we need to get to. Not second divisions, not PSLs. These are the levels that we need to get to. So I think we need to develop these kids very young and send them out. Send them out. Send them out. But for as long as a lot of our pool of players is picked from here, the brighter days aren't going to come back. That's for sure. So, Morgan Mammila, I've heard you out. I hope you can hear me out. It's time for our weekly bet of the week. The purpose of this segment is to show you my bet slip in hopes that it helps yours light and green. The more accurate, the more cash you get. Let's get into it. Not many Premier League games this week, but we've got two. It's the Manchester clubs. Seems like I've seen this before. We've had a bet slip with just Manchester clubs only. But this week, Crystal Palace going up against Manchester United. I've gone with a double chance and over 1.5, going with a draw and Manchester United to win. I just think they're in really good form, and I don't see Palace doing much. Next game, big one, Manchester City against Tottenham Hotspur. Both teams that need 3 points, both teams that are far behind Arsenal as well. And I've gone with the Manchester City win and over 1.5. I just think Spurs are really bad and they're going to start bad again, and I don't think they'll be able to get any points. The odds there, 2.38. Let's double our money this week. Why not? 500 goes into 1.2, and those are my selections. That is Bet of the Week, sponsored by Betway. Remember to practice responsible betting at betway.co.za. Until the next one, all the best. We've come to the end of the show. Last week, the Nedbank Cup draw took place. And there you have it. Those are the fixtures. There's a surprise there. There's a surprise result. But I want you guys to tell me what it is. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hit the notification bell so you're notified for future episodes.